Something is shifting at Liverpool Football Club, and it is shifting fast. Not quietly, not behind closed doors, but openly, publicly, and with a level of urgency that the club has not experienced in years. Within the last 24 hours alone, the stories coming out of Anfield have stacked up in a way that demands serious attention. Transfer targets are emerging. A managerial crisis is developing. A goalkeeper is declaring himself fit for the biggest tournament on the planet. And a legendary player is walking out of the door while setting the building on fire on his way. This is not a club drifting into the summer window. This is a club that is being forced to make decisions it was not fully prepared to make, and every story breaking right now is connected to a deeper problem at the heart of Liverpool Football Club. Let us go through everything step by step with the clarity and honesty that this situation deserves. Before we get into every individual story, let us be clear about what is actually at risk here. Liverpool ended the previous season as Premier League champions. They were considered one of the best run clubs in England, possibly in Europe. Now, less than one full season later, they are heading into a summer window with serious questions over their manager, open rebellion from their greatest player, multiple players being linked away, and a transfer strategy that appears to be pulling in different directions at the same time. If the club gets this summer wrong, the decline that has already begun will accelerate. If they get it right, there is still a foundation to build from. Every story we are about to discuss matters because of that bigger picture. And if you want deeper analysis on stories like this, analysis that goes beyond the headlines and actually breaks down what is happening and why, hit that subscribe button right now. Victor, Liverpool analyst, is here to give you the full picture every single time. Now let us go through every story in detail. Bradley Barcola and Liverpool's pursuit. The situation is this. Liverpool are stepping up their pursuit of Paris Saint-Germain winger Bradley Barcola, and they are pushing hard to bring him to Anfield this summer. That is not a casual interest. That is a club actively pushing, and from the Paris Saint-Germain side, the door appears to be open. Paris Saint-Germain are willing to discuss a sale if Barcola himself asks to leave. The reason for that is important. Barcola has had a limited role under his manager Luis Enrique, and that limited role has caused him to seriously consider his future. Now let us think about what that means analytically. Barcola is a wide attacking player. Liverpool's transfer strategy heading into this window clearly involves strengthening in those wide attacking positions. The fact that Liverpool are described as pushing hard, not just monitoring or showing interest, tells you there is genuine momentum behind this pursuit. The player himself is increasingly tempted by the move. Both the Premier League as a competition and Liverpool's project as a club are appealing to him. That is significant because a player who wants to come makes negotiations easier. A player who is reluctant, no matter how talented, creates complications from the start. However, there is a complication on the Liverpool side, and it is one that reveals a real internal tension at the club. Liverpool executives are genuinely worried that signing Barcola could block the development pathway of young academy player Rio Ingamoa into the first team. That concern is verified. It is not speculation. It reflects a real internal debate happening at the club right now. What this tells us analytically is that Liverpool are not operating with a unified single vision in this window. Different voices inside the club are weighing the short-term gain of signing an established winger against the long-term cost of potentially stunting a young talent who they clearly believe has real potential. That tension is something Liverpool will have to resolve before any Barcola deal can be completed. The pursuit is real, the interest is genuine, but internally it is not a straightforward decision. Basuma Touré and the four-club race. The situation regarding Basuma Touré is that the Hoffenheim winger is expected to leave his club this summer. He is not being linked to Liverpool in isolation. Liverpool are one of four clubs interested in him, with Manchester United, Aston Villa and Newcastle United also in the race. Hoffenheim are demanding a fee in the range of £26 million to £34 million. Now let me give you my analytical read on this. The fact that four Premier League clubs are circling one player tells you two things. First, the player has genuine quality that multiple scouting departments have identified. Second, Liverpool are not the front runners here in the way they are with Barcola. They are part of a group, not leading the charge. For Liverpool, the attraction would be obvious. A winger at that price range would represent a cost-effective addition compared to the kind of fees that elite players from top leagues command. But with three other clubs competing, Liverpool would need to act decisively and make themselves the most attractive destination if they want to win that race. At this stage, it is a rumour and a report of interest. No negotiations have been confirmed. No bid has been submitted. Viewers should treat this as an emerging situation to monitor rather than a deal in progress. Jarrod Bowen and West Ham's vulnerability. The situation involving Jarrod Bowen is that Liverpool are among 3 clubs interested in the West Ham United winger. Chelsea and Manchester United are the other 2 clubs. The reason these clubs are circling is that West Ham United are experiencing serious financial problems, and rival clubs are looking to capitalise on that vulnerability by targeting their best players. Let me be clear about what is confirmed here and what is not. What is confirmed is that interest exists from Liverpool, Chelsea and Manchester United. What is confirmed is that West Ham's financial situation is making them vulnerable. Beyond that, no fee, no negotiation stage, and no player preference has been confirmed. Analytically, this is a situation worth watching for Liverpool. Bowen is an experienced Premier League winger with creativity and goal contribution. If West Ham's financial situation forces a sale, the fee could be lower than his market value under normal circumstances. That is the opportunity that competing clubs are positioning themselves for. But again, this is a developing situation. It is a rumour supported by reported interest. Liverpool supporters should not read this as a deal being close. Denzel Dumfries and the right-back problem. This story has a different dynamic to the others, and it is worth paying close attention to the detail. The situation is that the representatives of Denzel Dumfries are actively pushing for a move to Liverpool this summer. Those close to the Dutch international believe he could provide the ideal solution to Liverpool's developing problems at right-back. Notice what is happening here. The push is coming from the players' side, not from Liverpool. Dumfries and his camp want this move. They believe he fits Liverpool's needs. They are making that case. What that tells us analytically is that Liverpool have a clear and visible gap at right-back that is being noticed, not just internally, but by agents and players around European football. When a player's representatives are approaching your club because they can see an obvious position of need, it means your weakness is public knowledge. Whether Liverpool will act on this interest from Dumfries' side is a separate question. No confirmed Liverpool approach has been reported. No fee discussion has been confirmed. The push is coming from the players' camp. But the underlying message is important. Liverpool have a right-back problem. Multiple parties are aware of it. And at least one established international player sees Anfield as the right destination to solve it. Alisson Becker and the World Cup confirmation. This one is short, but it matters. Brazil manager Carlo Ancelotti has confirmed that Alisson has been in full training for 2 weeks and will be 100% ready to participate with Brazil in the World Cup. That is a direct quote from a manager. That is as confirmed as it gets without a medical certificate. For Liverpool, this is positive news. Alisson remaining fit and sharp through the summer means Liverpool's #1 goalkeeper is prepared and available heading into the next season. There are no concerns raised in what has been reported about his Liverpool future. He is training fully and will be representing Brazil. Analytically, the significance of this beyond the fitness confirmation is that Alisson heading into a World Cup in top condition is good for his confidence, his sharpness, and ultimately his form when club football resumes. Goalkeepers who play regularly tend to perform better than those who sit idle during long breaks. This is a positive development for Liverpool. The Pep Guardiola situation at Manchester City. Now let us step away from Liverpool for a moment, because what is happening at Manchester City has implications that affect the entire league landscape. The situation is extraordinary. Pep Guardiola is reported to be furious at how news of his exit from Manchester City became public. His players were told as recently as Saturday that he would be staying. Then after news leaked through the media, Guardiola summoned the players to a late-night group call to confirm he was in fact leaving. He then apologized to the players for the way the news came out. Let me be direct about what this means analytically. When a manager tells his squad on a Saturday that he is staying, and then days later confirms he is leaving, it means one of two things. Either the situation changed rapidly in a matter of days, or the communication with players was not fully honest. Either way, the effect on the dressing room would be significant. Shock, uncertainty, and disruption are not ideal conditions for any club heading into a summer transfer window. For the rest of the Premier League, including Liverpool, the departure of Guardiola from Manchester City is a major event. City spent years as the dominant force in English football under his leadership. Without him, the competitive balance of the Premier League may shift. Liverpool, already dealing with their own internal issues, would do well to use this moment of City instability to strengthen their own position. The Arne Slot crisis, this is the big one. Everything else in today's analysis has been significant. But this story is the one that defines Liverpool's entire summer. and possibly the next 2 to 3 years of the club's direction. The situation is this. Arne Slot arrived at Liverpool as the man chosen to follow Jurgen Klopp. In his first season, Liverpool were Premier League champions. Now, in his second season, the club are experiencing what one detailed report has described as a near vertical decline. They are heading into the Champions League next season, but they are doing so with a record low points tally. For a club that broke their transfer record twice last summer, that is not acceptable. For most of this season, the expectation was that Slot would be given next season to prove he could reverse the decline. He himself had publicly confirmed he was already involved in planning for the next campaign. Several credible voices in transfer journalism, including Fabrizio Romano, were strongly insisting Slot was safe. That position has changed. It is now clear that there are growing doubts among Liverpool's top brass regarding Slot's future. Sacking Slot is now under serious consideration. Internally, the club is not fully aligned behind the idea that he should definitely stay. The people making decisions at Liverpool, specifically Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes, have serious thinking to do. The moment that accelerated this shift was Mohamed Salah's social media post. Salah, who is in his final days at the club before leaving on a free transfer, used his platform to call out Liverpool's style of play and the declining standards at the club. He specifically called for the club to return to what he described as heavy metal football. Now, Salah having nothing left to lose might make it easy to dismiss his comments as the words of a player on the way out, but that analysis would be wrong. Here is why. 17 current and former Liverpool players either liked or commented positively on Salah's post. That is not one player venting. That is a dressing room making its feelings known through a public platform. And internally, at Liverpool, there is significant sympathy towards what Salah said. People inside the club understand why he voiced those frustrations. Fabrizio Romano, who had previously been the most prominent voice insisting Slot was safe, has now walked back that position. He has confirmed that an end-of-season review will take place, and he has described that review as important and crucial. Those are not the words of someone who believes the outcome is already decided. What does all of this mean analytically? It means Liverpool are in a genuinely uncertain moment. The review is real, the doubts are real, the internal division is real, and the public nature of the dissatisfaction from the club's greatest player, backed by 17 teammates, is real. There are 20 documented reasons being cited in football analysis circles for why Liverpool should consider parting ways with Slot. Among the most significant are Salah's rebellion and the scale of backing it received, the poor substitution decisions throughout the season, the over-reliance on specific players like Cody Gakpo, regardless of form, the deeply underwhelming away record in the season, a brand of football that has clearly lost the dressing room, and a failure to compete for trophies despite the resources available. That is not a list that paints the picture of a manager in control of his team or his environment. The manager search. Luis Enrique and Andoni Iraola. Given the uncertainty around Slot, two names have entered the conversation for the next Liverpool manager, and both are worth analysing carefully. The first is Luis Enrique. The situation is that bookmakers have made the Paris Saint-Germain head coach the favourite to become the next Liverpool manager if the owners decide to move on from Slot. This is interesting on multiple levels. Luis Enrique has managed at the highest level with Paris Saint-Germain and previously with the Spanish national team. He is an elite-level coach with a strong tactical identity. But there is an obvious irony here. The same article covering Liverpool's potential interest in Bradley Barcola noted that Barcola's limited role under Luis Enrique at Paris Saint-Germain is exactly why the player is considering leaving. If Enrique came to Liverpool, the Barcola pursuit would become extraordinarily complicated. Also worth noting is that the bookmaker odds reflect speculation and market movement. They are not confirmation of any approach or interest from Liverpool's side. The second name is Andoni Iraola. The situation is that Iraola is emerging as one of the most in-demand coaches in European football this summer. Liverpool are among a growing list of clubs that hold strong admiration for the Spaniard. 3 German clubs are also reportedly interested in him. Analytically, Iraola represents a different profile to Enrique. He is younger in his managerial career, has built a reputation for high-energy, pressing-based football, and fits the identity that Salah and others appear to be calling for when they reference heavy metal football. The fact that multiple clubs are competing for his services means Liverpool would face genuine competition if they decide to pursue him seriously. At this stage, both names are connected to Liverpool through reported admiration and bookmaker speculation. No confirmed approach, no confirmed interest from Liverpool's board, and no contract discussions have been reported for either candidate. Curtis Jones and the Inter Milan exit. One player whose Liverpool future appears to be over is Curtis Jones. The situation is that Jones has a contract running until 2027, but he is currently far from agreeing a new deal. Liverpool are ready to sell this summer, rather than allow him to run into the final year of his contract and potentially lose him for nothing. Inter Milan want Curtis Jones. They were close to signing him in January before the deal collapsed because Liverpool did not want to sell without securing a replacement first. Inter are ready to return this summer, and the key variable will be the fee Liverpool demand. This departure appears to be moving towards a conclusion. Jones's position at the club has weakened significantly, and the public nature of his support for Salah's post has not helped his stand-in. Jamie Carragher was direct in his criticism of Jones for backing Salah on social media. Carragher's view was that Jones, as a player who takes multiple touches before making simple passes, was not in a position to be endorsing calls for a different style of play. Carragher also used the moment to reinforce his broader criticism of Salah, arguing that Salah's actions throughout this period have been self-serving rather than in the interest of the club. That is a minority view compared to the 94% of Liverpool fans polled on Sky Sports who sided with Salah over Slot. But Carragher's criticism of Jones lands on a player who is already on his way out, and it reflects the fractured state of opinion around this Liverpool squad. Closing analysis. Let us step back and look at the full picture of what is happening at Liverpool right now. The club are entering the summer window in a far more complicated position than anyone anticipated 12 months ago. They have transfer targets, but those targets come with complications, competing clubs and internal disagreements. They have a managerial situation that is genuinely unresolved, with an end-of-season review described as crucial by the people closest to it. They have a dressing room that has publicly backed a departing player's criticism of the current manager. They are selling a midfielder to Inter Milan because his contract situation has become untenable. And they are doing all of this while watching their greatest rival at Manchester City go through their own moment of disruption with the departure of Pep Guardiola. There is opportunity in this moment for Liverpool, but opportunity requires clarity of decision-making, unity of purpose, and the courage to make the right call, even when it is difficult. The evidence suggests that clarity has not yet arrived at Anfield. The summer of 2026 will define the next chapter of this club's story. Whether that chapter is one of recovery or continued decline depends entirely on what Liverpool's decision-makers choose to do in the coming weeks. This is Victor, Liverpool analyst. Stay subscribed for every update as this situation develops. The story is far from over.